Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday. I can't believe it's already Tuesday. Holy crap. I have to do a couple back-to-back streams here, so hang tight with me. If you stay with me through this one, we're going to kick it off. We're going to shut it down, and then we're going to go right into a second stream because I want to keep topics one at a time so they're easiest for you guys to watch. Now, housekeeping. I did a video yesterday related to my Pathio's article on Larry Cook of Stop Mandatory Vaccinations. And I want to just let you guys know that it's absolutely okay for you guys to feel differently than me and to have questions and to, be skeptical. But I would hope that you listen to me with open ears related to this topic, and that knowing that if you disagree with me or my moderators, that's completely okay, but it's never okay in live chat or in my comments to call me names, use derogatory words to describe me, or to attack the fact that I delete content that differs from my point of view. I don't delete content that differs from what I believe. I delete comments that call me names. Specifically, someone called me a "see you next Tuesday" yesterday in chat and then yelled at me for deleting the comment. And then somebody else in the comments yesterday related to this said that I'm censoring people. No, I'm not censoring people. What I am is I'm an advocate for not spreading misinformation. If you have questions about the misinformation related to vaccines, I am all ears and willing to talk to you, but I'm not okay with spreading false narratives, and I'm very protective of that. That doesn't mean I have an agenda or I'm using my platform to do anything, and I don't have a sneakiness about this. You guys, I'm transparent, all right? So with that said, let's get started on this new episode. Here we go. So this episode was called, Don't Give Up. That's right. Don't give up. We're going to take a trip with the girls through, I don't even remember. So much goes on in this. So we're going to talk about Catelynn and some issues with her and Tyler when they were going through their separation. Maci's planning a birthday party for Taylor, who's turning 30. Cheyenne and Cory dealing with some issues related to his mother visiting and some sneaky Instagram stuff he shares. And then Ambi working through the issues that we saw last week related to Leah, which actually came to a resolution that I think a lot of you will be happier with, because I think many of you last week were a little bit upset with how Gary handled things, and I was pleasantly surprised with how things worked out in this episode. So let's dive right in. We are in Michigan with Catelynn and Tyler, and they are talking about how they are going to be, and it starts out, and Nova's like pulling on their tiny little dog, and then Tyler's like, no, don't do it, and then Nova's like, nah, nah. And then Kate's on the couch with Veda, and she's just like, and then like Nova has a meltdown because Tyler takes the dog away, and then Nova's like, no. Okay, so that's, this is just an average day with toddlers. I actually kind of liked how this set up because it sort of just paints a picture of what it's like to have little kids. So Kate talks about how it's challenging to have two kids. They have to go out on dates. Then they go over to Kim's house for dinner, which is Tyler's mother. And they are talking with Kim and her husband about how they need to go out on a date, they need to connect, and Catelyn's like, we're gonna get facials and we're gonna go to the spa and get couples massages, and then we're gonna have some dinner. And then Tyler's like, we learned in therapy that it's like important to have like date nights, and we're gonna do this as much as possible to reconnect so we don't get back to that place. Sounds sounds okay. And then Kim, Tyler's mom, always the woman of wisdom, says that it's important that they make time for each other every single month, especially when the kids are little, to make sure that they focus on their relationship. All right. Now, off to Tennessee, where it's time with Maci. Now, Maci is going to be planning a birthday party for Taylor. So, it starts out, though, with her talking about Ryan. And she's like, Ryan's been out of jail for a while now, and Ryan hasn't reached out to me, and Ryan still has an order of protection, and he hasn't reached out, and so she's not going to reach out to him because Ryan needs to take the first steps. So then she walks out of the house and she's planning, she's talking to Taylor, her husband, about his 30th birthday party. They sit at a table. Of course, Maci has a beer. I've started to notice, you guys, that Maci drinks in every single scene. In fact, I was looking through this episode and she had alcohol with her on every scene. I don't know if that should be an issue or not. I don't know. It just seems sort of odd that in every single scene she's drinking. Now, she's like, Taylor, you're getting old. What we gonna do for your birthday? And then Taylor's like, I want a dirt bike. And then she's like, I'm not gonna get you a dirt bike. And then she's like, don't call me when the ambulance comes to get you. And he's like, I'm gonna call Bentley. And she's like, we gonna best need to talk about this. That's their conversation. That was literally their conversation. And then they talk about what they're going to do and then whether or not they're going to get a dirt bike. Now, back to LA, we go see Cheyenne. She's at the nail salon with her judgmental sister. And she's like, they're like, have you talked to Jen today? Who's like Cory's mom, I guess. And Cory's mom is going to be visiting. And he's actually going on vacation to St. Lucia. And Cheyenne's explaining to her sister that Cory's mom booked the trip, told Cory he was going to come, and then Cory booked a trip to St. Lucia the same time his mom was coming and wouldn't change the trip's date. And so Cheyenne's sister has the best resting bitch face, and she's like, I love Cheyenne's sister's resting bitch face. It's so good. So then Cheyenne's like, Cory complains that my parents aren't here, his parents aren't here, and that my family is doing all of this raising and blah, 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 but that he can't even be here when his parents are here. And then they're all like, he really should have planned better. And her mom was there, and Cheyenne's mom was there, and they were like talking about how they want to make sure that Cory's family has an active part in their relationship with Ryder, blah, blah, blah. Completely boring. And again, back to irrelevancy of Cheyenne. Now it's time to stop in Indiana to see Ambi. All right. So Ambi is still pissed off about the panic attacks with Leah. And she talks to Andrew about what she's going to do to help Leah with the anxiety. And she knows, she said that she had panic attacks when she was 9 years old. So she knows a lot about it and she could help her. And she wants to make sure everything's okay with Leah. So Amber calls Gary and she asks Gary if they can have a conversation about Leah. Gary's just like, well, I talked to Leah, and she said it was like only 2 times, and the rest were just like her panicking when she got in trouble. And then Amber gets all mad at him, and she's like, we need to manage the issues. We need to find the cause. And then Gary's like, I just don't want our daughter to think she's crazy. I don't want her to have a label. And then they get off the phone, and she's all pissed off, and Andrew's like, it's a disservice to your daughter that Gary will not address this. And then Amber's like, I refuse to sit back and be okay with this. Sorry. I'm learning my Amber impression. All right. So back to Maci. Maci's now planning the surprise birthday party, and she's meeting with her best friend she meets with Taylor's best friend to talk about the party. They're at a bar, they're eating nachos, they're drinking beer, and they decide that they're going to do it at a Lookout baseball game, which must be like the minor league baseball team in Tennessee, and they're going to get Bentley to be in on it and say it's like an award he won through school. And then they talk about the bullshit dirt bike. That's about it, you guys. Now back to Kate. So she wants to work on her relationship with Tyler, and she just doesn't want to get back to that dark place. And Taylor is at the tattoo place getting a tattoo to honor Veda. Now the Veda tattoo, she said, is going to be have like blood and like battle wounds, and then it's going to be holding a baby, and it's supposed to be symbolizing all of the issues that they went through in the past 18 months. And then the producer, she's all like, you guys had the worst 18 months ever. And then Catelyn's like, I know, it was just so hard. And then they start talking about how she got pregnant when they were in this really dark place, and she actually says that at that time she even considered terminating the pregnancy. And she says she looks back now and she's thankful that they got through it and she didn't terminate the pregnancy. But she said she still feels guilty contemplating getting, aborting Veda, because she worries that like Veda heard her in the womb and somehow that's affecting her development now. And then she just said that her marriage was such a mess. She's worried about Veda. But she said that when she talked to Tyler about actually terminating the pregnancy, he was like, nope, absolutely not. We're having this child. All right. So Tyler's point of view was heard. All right. So now we're back to Cheyenne, Mrs. Irrelevant. And she's like, Cory's on social media. He's an influencer. He wants free trips, blah, blah, blah. He needs to go do his stuff. So he apparently gets this trip to St. Lucia, and it's a gift through some social media, like sponsored type thing. And Cory's like talking about how he's at like lunch with Taylor, his girlfriend, and he's talking about how he doesn't always get to go to St. Lucia, and he booked the trip after his mom was coming, and it was free, and he couldn't meet it. And then he calls his mom, and he's like, Mom, like, you mad that you're not going to be here when I'm here? And she's like, yeah. And then she puts Ryder on the phone, and then Ryder's like, blah, 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 grandma, okay, grandma, blah, 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 blah. And then his mom's like, you picked the vacation over me, and that just makes me mad. And then Cory's like, whatever. And then she wants to make sure that Cory tells Taylor he wants to make sure his mom has a more active role in his life, is more of an active role in her life as possible, because his family isn't in Los Angeles, and because he feels like Cheyenne's family is the one that is always around Ryder. So, but the funny thing is like, your parents are coming, Cory, and you not there. And then Ryder's like, blah, 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 okay. Oh my God, you guys. She says okay, so cute. Okay. All right. Now, back to Ambi. They're at a park, and they're sitting at a park bench, and she meets up with Gary. And, like, hold on, I got pictures here now. Oh, that's Taylor twerking. You guys, just wait for that part of the story. There we go. So they're at the park, they're talking, and Gary and her are discussing, what is going on with Leah. And Amber's like, I talked to Leah, and I just want to know what's going on, and I just want to get a sense of, like, is everything okay with her? And, like, oh, God, you guys. There we go. Whew, sorry. All kinds of great, crazy stuff going on here. Okay. So they're sitting down, and basically she's like, Amber tells Gary that after she saw and learned about the anxiety attacks, she bawled her eyes out at home. And Gary said, but she isn't exhibiting any signs of depression. And Leah told him it wasn't a panic attack. And then Ambi says that there were times that when she was younger, she was having these issues. And when she grew up in her house, it was very chaotic. And she didn't always have someone to talk to about things. And she wished that she might have had someone back then to help her through some of the stuff that she was dealing with as a child. And she thinks that had she had more support as a child, she might have had a better prognosis long term as an adult, and might not have had the issues that she deals with now. Very insightful, actually, of Amber to draw that conclusion. I thought that was extremely mature of her, to be honest. And she said that Leah's at an age where she's 9 or 10 years old now, and she's probably doesn't want to talk to her parents about everything. And so maybe given the fact that she's had some of these issues over the last few months, that it might not be a bad idea for her to at least consider, to have them at least consider her talk to a therapist, just as a neutral party to help her deal with some of the issues that she's feeling, and just to make sure that everything is okay. And if there is something that they need to do, they at least know that they've taken all the steps that they need to take. And Gary actually agrees with it, and he says it's okay, and he thinks that actually that might be really good for Leah to have someone to talk to about it. And then Amber says, then we just know we did something, and she needs, and then she starts talking about how Leah needs to have more consistent visits with her, and that they need to stop doing this thing where they allow Leah to pick when she sees Amber, and she wants to get on a more consistent schedule. And she says, unless we get on a more consistent schedule with Leah, she's never going to really develop the bond with me, and I really want to make sure that we have that relationship. Now she's doing this at age 10. Just think about that. 10 years she's been able to do this. And now at age 10, she's like, now we need to develop a schedule. That was the one part where Ambi lost me. All right. So, and there, and there was Amber like talking to Gary and blah, blah, blah. All right. So now back to Maci. They are going to, hold on. I got ahead of myself. Now to Maci. So she's like planning Taylor's birthday party. That's what she says. She's planning Taylor's birthday party this weekend, and there's still so this is how she's talking on her like narrative. Taylor's birthday party is this weekend, and there is still so much for me to do. Like, she's so terrible at reading her narratives. And she's sitting on a truck on the tailgate of her truck, basically like tailgating with her friend, drinking beer. Again, discussing the party, and she's going to go, and about how they're going to go to the ballpark. And then we go to Ryan's house. So this is like Ryan's like one moment on the show. So, hold on a second. There's Ryan. All right, so we get to Ryan's house, and So Mackenzie is like sitting there with Jagger, and she's like talking to Ryan, and she's like, so do you want to like, what do you want to do for your future? And Ryan's like, I don't know, I just like thought I might start a landscaping company. And then Mac's like, yeah, you could totally do that. You're so creative. And then she's like, what are you gonna do about like Maci? Have you talked to her since you got out of jail? And then Ryan's like, no, because she got that dumb like restraining order about me, and I ain't gonna go back to prison to talk to her. I ain't risking that. I ain't sticking my neck out for that. And then she's just like, yeah, she should be. And then Mackenzie's like, yeah, she should be reaching out to you. I mean, it's her fault that she has the restraining order. That's on her to reach out to you. Right, Mackenzie. And then she suggests that Ryan, like, and she's like, but do you care? Do you care about, like, getting to a place where Bentley understands? And then Ryan's like, well, yeah. And she's like, then Mackenzie suggests maybe that they meet up with a lawyer without the cameras on to talk about Bentley, because it's probably a good point in time for them to get on the same page and discuss things so that they can be good co-parents for Bentley. And then Ryan's like, I mean, I guess. And then he nods his head and he looks super stoned. Obviously, you can tell by his eyes, he looks like he's stoned, all right? So, back to the kids' house, or back to Catelynn. Whoops. And they're taking their kids over to, they're dropping their kids off at April's house. And she is a hoarder, you guys. I've decided, because here's a photo of April's home. There's crap everywhere. It's a freaking mess. But you know what? I'm going to say it. April looks really good. And after like everything she's been through, it sounds like April has got her crap together, and she's like an active part of their lives, which is freaking awesome. So they are dropping the kids off with April. She's going to babysit. They're going to stay overnight with her. She gives Nova an Easter basket that has like dinosaurs, and then Nova's like, a dinosaur, a T-Rex, yay, oh, dino eggs. And then Kate tells mom how to feed the baby, and then Tyler's like, you're going to stay with grandma. And Nova's like, okay, bye. Which is like never how Nova acts. But Nova's like super excited to be with April, which is good. It's awesome that she loves her grandma like that. And then Kate and Tyler.
Mommy.
Yeah, honey?
Can you stop talking like how you're talking?
Yeah, I'm still going to talk though, okay?
But don't talk how you do like really funny.
Okay, don't talk really funny. Oh, you guys might...
You have that guy with the monkey in there.
I do have the monkey in here.
Can you have him?
Do you want the monkey?
Why is he in there? Flew right towards me.
Yep, I did. You guys, he's so funny. Can you not make that voice so you talk so funny? Vaughn does not like my impressions. Okay. So then they're leaving the house, and Catelyn's like, are we going to go make another baby tonight? And Tyler's like, nope, we got enough on our plate. Now, back to Cheyenne. So this is the part that's donkulous, you guys. So they are... Okay, so they are at... Cheyenne is talking with her sister on the couch about Cory and his girlfriend, and her sister's like, did you see Cory's Instagram? We need to talk about this. And it's a freaking video that he posted on his IG, and it's of Taylor twerking, but he is in the background and his peeper is showing. If you can see this, let me see if I can blow this up a little bit so you can see this. But there it is, sort of blurred out right there. And he uploaded that on Instagram, not realizing his ding-a-ling was out. And so Taylor is in the video twerking, which is so stupid, and he's putting that on Instagram, but whatever. Okay, and so Ryder is with her grandparents. She's having a really good time with Cory's mom and her stepdad. They talk about the Instagram stuff, and like her sister's just like, how do we handle situations like this when he gets older? When Ryder gets older? And then it's like, irrelevant, moving on, back to Maci. So Taylor can twerk, in case you're wondering. It was, you know, I know all of you wanted to know this. So then back to Maci. She actually gets Bentley to go in on this lie with her about the party. And they end up talking about this. So she's sitting down and she's like, so we got a letter for me. She said, so we got a letter for Bentley, what word for self-discipline? And he's like, yeah. And then go to the backyard, and Maci and Bentley are playing dodgeball, and then Bentley's like, Mom, I can't believe I... And then Maci's like, you gotta keep it dark. And you know, this conversation, I think, really gets some insight into why Gary was reluctant to make those decisions last week. Because while he's talking therapy, he's like, I didn't even want to have this conversation anyway. I didn't want to talk about this on camera. And then Christina makes a comment, and she says, Leah's friends watch this show. And that actually made my heart sink when she said that, because then I was thinking like, oh God, this is why they don't want to talk about it. And Gary says that the reason he didn't want to talk about it and he didn't want to like put it all out there was he doesn't want Leah to be bashed up by it, because it's a super private and like a super private moment for her. And if she is struggling, he doesn't think it's fair for the entire world to know about it. And he doesn't want her to get bullied at school. And he doesn't want her to go to school and then have her friends bash her for going to therapy or having to like talk to a therapist. And so it's actually, you know, it gave me a better insight into why he feels that way. And I guess when I thought about it that way, it's like, yeah, I get it. But he did agree that, you know, it wouldn't be a bad idea for her to have a therapist and to talk to somebody. And Christina thought it was a good idea too. And then they talked about how Amber wants to see her, Leah, more on a structured setting. And they discussed how Amber's been really irresponsible with visitation in the past. And like, well, they'll schedule something and then she cancels, or then she wants to see her 2 hours before she wants to see her. And so Christina was saying, like, if she sees her mother, we need to make sure that she's seeing her like on a specific time, a specific schedule. And, you know, Gary's like, doesn't want her on something willy-nilly. And he says that Leah needs structure, which I agree. So back to Cheyenne. She is now talking about Cory. And Cory calls while she's with her stepmother, Cory calls while he's with his mom. And so they're talking about the trip and are you having fun? And Cory's still in St. Lucia. And then Cheyenne's like, did you see his IG video? And then his mom's like, mm-hmm. And then Cheyenne's like, did it shock you? And she's like, I can't say that anything he's done has shocked me, except for the time he called me and he said, Mom, I have a baby. Then later on, Cheyenne meets up with Cory at a park. she tells Cory that family should always come first. He shouldn't be doing these types of trips, especially when his mom is coming, if he's serious about his mother having a relationship and being a part of this family. Cory says he doesn't care that he wasn't there and it doesn't matter to him, and that but he said he was stupid for not realizing that his peeper was out in the IG video. They fight about Ryder being in the hospital. He says that like he shouldn't have to come home every single time like something is going on with her, which I should note, you guys, Ryder actually has a medical condition that requires like very close monitoring of her diet, and she can have issues related to her blood sugar and then also other side effects. It's related to how her body like breaks down certain proteins, and she can't fast because she will like fall, like she'll tank with her blood sugar. It's actually a pretty rare disorder. Cheyenne has actually started a foundation to help bring awareness for this condition, which is really weird because I feel like this could be a really big opportunity for MTV to talk about it, but they never do. But Ryder was in the hospital. She had a fever, and she was trying to explain to Cory that when she has a fever, it's very, very, very serious because of her condition. It's true. Hypoglycemia and fevers never go together. So I can see why she would have been concerned about this. And Cory's just like, you just have to call me. And then Cheyenne's just like, I shouldn't have to call you to tell you to be there for your daughter. Touche, Cheyenne. Well played. So Tyler and Kate are on their date. They're getting a couples massage. The masseuse is like, how long has it been since you had a date? And Tyler's like, it's been a minute. They go to get their couples massages. They talk about what they're going to do when they go home. They go out for dinner. They're going to watch some movies, blah, blah, blah. And then they're at dinner and they're talking about, you know, what are they going to do to work on the relationship? And then Kate decides that she's going to bring up that when she was pregnant, she wanted to share with him, like, how she still feels guilty about the thought that she might have wanted to terminate the pregnancy with Veda. And then Tyler says that it really, like, he said that he really knew that he needed to work on their relationship when he found out she was pregnant, because he didn't want to bring another child into the world and have them feeling and being in the place that they were. And he knew that he had to take care of himself and their marriage if he was going to be a father of another child. And so he said that when Catelynn told him that she wanted to get rid of the child, he said he knew in his soul that he was always going to make this marriage work, but that he just needed time. And so he knew he was going to be there for her and be there for Veda, which was why it was not optional for her to terminate the pregnancy. And he said that he told her, like, you can't feel guilty about how you might have been stressed out during that time because Veda didn't know anything. She's fine. Those 9 months in the womb aren't going to detract from the way that we're raising her now. We're giving her a loving family. And you know, this was actually a very mature conversation. And I have to say, it gave me like chills to see both of them in a place where they were both very self-reflective and like very mature about where they're at. And it just seemed really nice to see both of them in a place where they're finally happy. So I felt good about that. And it's not often that I feel like, oh yeah, that's really sweet. Aww. But I kind of had that moment where it's like, oh, you guys, because they've been together for 13 years, you guys. That's a long time. All right. Now, back to Maci. So she is finally at the party where she's bringing, let's get her. So she brings Taylor into the surprise party at the Lookout game. They have like a box where they have a bunch of people in there and everyone's drinking. On the way there, Taylor is drinking out of a blue Solo cup in the car. Seriously? Come on. I know you guys are country and I know you guys live in Tennessee, but like driving with an open container is kind of a big deal, and you have kids in the car. That's not okay. Ugh, God. These two drink so much. It actually kind of concerns me. So when they get there, all their friends are there. Taylor's all like, really? You did this? And Maci's like, yes, really? And he's like, and then Maci's all, we pulled it off. Yeah. And then her friend that's always there, I think her name is Katie, she's like, has Ryan called? And she's like, nope, I'm just going to have Jen. Jen can be my go-between. I'm just going to tell her that Ryan can call me through them, okay? Then they get back, and then Maci's there. She is talking to Taylor at the window. she's drunk. Her eyes are bloodshot. And she's like, and Taylor says to her, this is way better than a dirt bike. And she's like, I don't want to know about a dirt bike, but you can go get your dirt bike. And then they're both drunk and they're hugging and kissing and blah, blah, blah. It's cute. And then their kids are running around. So there's that. Now we're at, and I'm not, well, yeah. So now we're back to Amber. She's back at home. She's talking to Andrew. And she sits down and she's like, Andrew's all like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm checking the market. And then Ambi sits down with him and she's like, talks about the conversation with Gary and how it was a really good step for them. And they had, it was nice to be able to talk to Gary without arguing about it. Andrew said that that's awesome to see. And then he said, like, he like told her like, and this was actually kind of like, I don't know, you guys, like kind of a like cue into Andrew, but he started like talking to her about how, you know, he never watched the show. But he's like, and he talks about how this relationship between Gary and her, it's going to need a lot of patience, a lot of time, a lot of love. But also that, you know, he didn't know like how he, like, because he didn't watch the show before he got involved with her, he didn't know about like her background or like how she grew up. And that, you know, it's going to like, he just said like seeing what she's gone through and how she hasn't been able to be there for Leah in the way that she wants to and how it's destroyed her. And how like he knows that like Amber doesn't want to repeat those same mistakes and she wants to have a better relationship. And so he's really like glad for her. And he actually gets choked up and like he's like almost on the verge of tears. And it was like kind of touching and it made me feel like, oh God, you know, Andrew for all intents and purposes was kind of a voice of reason in this. And she sort of talks about how far they've come, but it's still not perfect. And yeah, that was it. So Amber is still wanting to have a better relationship with him. Andrew's choked up. And my overall sense in this entire episode is that Kate and Tyler are in a good place, which is nice. Great to see them co-parenting, working on their marriage. Awesome, because they have 2 kids involved that did not have a choice in this matter. Second, Gary was being conservative in his approach because he didn't want to talk about it on TV and he wanted to protect Leah. I completely respect that as him being a father. And then he agreed to let her go to therapy, but then still is worried about Leah getting bullied. I totally understand that too. Cheyenne and Cory are just stupid and irrelevant, and Cory not being there for his mother when she's on vacation is stupid, and then showing his peeper on Instagram is lame, and Taylor is like a thirsty little girl that's there for like MTV fame. And then we have Mackenzie, who's somehow the voice of reason with Ryan. Ryan is still messed up on drugs. Larry and Jen do not make an appearance in this episode, and Maci is an alcoholic. There we go. That's what I got for you guys today. So I do worry, you guys, like considerably about the amount that she's drinking around these kids, why she's always got alcohol on the screen. I know it was like his birthday party, but it just seems like sort of weird to be like drinking around your children. Children do pick on the habits that you create. And if you are binge drinking around your kids, children that are around binge drinking are more likely to become binge drinkers and have develop issues with alcohol. So, you know, those are just like my like, you know, and this is coming from me who has a husband who has battled with addiction or battled with alcohol related issues. And so I'm very cognizant of those kinds of things. So I really do hope that she's not an alcoholic, but it is troublesome that alcohol is always on the show. Anyways, that's where we at. So next week, they're going to be talking about some more stuff with some things, and Amber's going to talk about more things, and Catelynn and Tyler are going to complain about something, and Maci's going to do something with Ryan, and that's about it. I really wish there was more coming up in the next episode, but it doesn't really look like, well, they're going to address Leah's stuff, and that's about it. So, oh no, next episode, Cheyenne's going to talk to Matt about moving in with her or something. Yeah, yay. All right, you guys. So that's this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed my interpretation or my impressions, as always. Hang tight if you are waiting. I'm going to just jump off of right now, and I'm going to jump back on in a few minutes to talk about what's going on with Farrah Abraham. But leave me comments and let me know what you think about this episode. Are you happy to see that Tyler and Kate are doing better? What do you think about Gary and Christina's choice to try to protect Leah? And do you think that Amber's overreacting? And what about Cheyenne and Cory? Like, do you care? And then, obviously, do you care about Maci? All right, you guys, see you in a bit. Bye.